Hey, how's it going? Uh, I try really hard to not jump on the bandwagon for anything. Every day there's the next big thing that's going on, and it gets talked about, and everyone on social media just beats it in the mouth, and everybody has to go online to have their say because what everyone thinks about everything is so damn important, and everybody has to be part of something if it's a big deal. And I try so hard to avoid that crap. But sometimes society just forces my hand. I swear to God. So the big thing today, January 19th, 2019, 1/19/19, is this Native American gathering that was going on today. And all these young Make America Great, grade A fuck ups had to show up. They just had to show up. They just had to mess with this. They couldn't just leave it alone. You know, it's one thing to be a conservative. It's one thing to be a Republican. It's one thing to have voted Republican and maybe still trying to believe and support your politicians or vote for Trump and then be like, maybe that wasn't a great idea later. That's one thing. That's bad enough. But when you're just proactively because you're just so fucking scared that your whiteness isn't dominating the world enough, that just whenever there is something that involves a collection of people who happen to not be white, you just have to go there and harass them for no motivated purpose other than the fact that you're just grade A pieces of shit. I mean, how is there not supposed to be rage from anybody that has any conceptual understanding of compassion, understanding, intellect? Let's talk about intelligence, for a few seconds while we're at this. These dumbass, all white, obviously, MAGA kids with their stupid fucking hats. God, I hate those damn hats so much. Just showing up and harassing these people who have been utterly screwed by American society pretty much from the moment white people showed up in this country. And, I so rarely see Native Americans getting angry, getting pissed, getting on soapboxes, yelling about how white people are the devil after all the shit we've done as a society in this country. And, you know, our Native American population continues to be strong in their convictions, to be strong about who they are, and strong in their values and traditions. And that was all they, that's what they were doing today. Is like, after all the crap that has befallen Native Americans, the natives of America, at least as far back as we know, after all the shit they've had to deal with, and they're just trying to be who they are, true to who they are, and there's still this faction of people that just have to come and fuck with it. And it makes no sense. There was no justifiable principle behind this. There was not one person who can logically, unless they're acting out of bias or sheer ignorance, get up on their soapbox and then claim that there's any justifiable reason for these stupid, dumbass, shit-brained kids to do what they were doing. And I do not want to hear one damn person. I had to deal with this, well, we had to deal with this so much. In September of 2017, there was a massive fire, destroyed thousands of acres in the Columbia River Gorge, one of the most coveted places in the Pacific Northwest. And it was a fire started, ignorantly by a couple of like 15-year-olds. A kid, they literally, scorching hot summer, the grass is all dry. A 15-year-old is smart enough to know don't start a fire in this area, and they were throwing like firecrackers into an area, and it caught fire, and that's how the fire started. And the number of people I had to listen to go on social media and say, well, they're still kids. Really? We have to justify that a 15-year-old is not smart enough to know when it's patchy, dry grass in the dead of summer, you don't throw flammable objects onto it? Do we really honestly believe that? And I do not want to hear one. I don't want to hear what. If you want to make this comment, just don't. And if you do make the comment on this video, I'm going to delete it because I don't need to listen to this crap. Nobody who is interested in progressing forward productively, progressively in our society is going to explain this kind of behavior away with the simple description of, well, I mean, look at them. They're just teenage boys. They'll grow out of this. Like shit, they will. And oh, it's not their fault. You know, obviously they were raised in very bad homes. Okay, first of all, just because someone does something that despicable does not suddenly mean they're the product of an abusive home. It doesn't mean that everything about who they are that sucks is the product of what their parents put into them. That is a nonsensical, ignorant blanket statement that excuses unacceptable behavior like this. I'm sorry, I could have been 10 years old, and if I would have seen kids doing that in front of Native Americans, I'd have scratched my head and said, what the hell is wrong with these people? And by these people, I'm talking about the white people in this equation. It's just sickening and astonishing, and in particular the one kid. There was this one kid in the Make America Great hat who just went up face to face with this one particular Native American gentleman and just kind of stared at him, you know, like his IQ was just depleting the longer he was staring with that just look on his face. And you know what? I'm sure he was standing there, his buddies are standing around him laughing, he's probably thinking, I'm going to be the coolest guy around tonight. Everybody's going to want to party with me now. All the girls are going to want to bang me. I'm going to be so fucking cool. And I hope he's ready, because he's already getting roasted online. And you know what? I do not care that he's a teenager. He deserves every bit of it. Obviously, you know, if people are going to threaten his life, that's not cool. But this guy needs to see the error of his ways. You know, so let's not go too far with it, even though there's inevitably going to be somebody that goes online and says someone should shoot this kid or something, you know, over the line like that. And obviously the behavior of these kids is going to incite a lot of rage in people who believe the opposite of them, people who at least have a little bit of intellect in their minds. Yeah, that kid is going to get roasted. I've seen people do things that are a fraction of as aggravating as what this guy does. And the fact that he had that dumbass smirk on his face, he's going to get roasted, and he is going to get roasted hard, and he is not going to be having a good time the next several days to couple of weeks. And on the flip side of that, the Native American gentleman that he's standing right there and just glaring at him while he's, you know, doing what he came there to do, he maintained his stoicism. He has all these people surrounding him, and imagine how angering that has to be to watch these people acting so disrespectful to you in a manner that you did not in any way bring along yourself. You know, similar to what Bobby Kennedy said. You know, the only crime you've committed is that you were born, and you happen to be born this way. You weren't born white, so I guess white people have to hassle you. And he just unshaken by what was going on around him. I'm sure he felt the emotions in that moment, but he continued doing what he did, and he just maintained his stoicism and stayed there and maintained the purpose of why they were there in the first place. You know, if this was a flipped situation, I mean, we've seen what Make America Great rallies are like. If, you know, some group of Make America Great Again people, whether they're teenagers, adults, elderly people, what have you, if they were standing in a group trying to do something, you know, actively, a la this group of Native Americans doing what they were trying to do, and anybody who was against them walked up and started laughing at them, and one person walked up to their group of MAGA morons and just stood there staring at them like this, they'd start a fucking fist fight with them. And we all know they would. Alright? So, it was really astonishing to watch people act like shit like this, knowing if the roles were reversed, they would not be able to handle it. Not anywhere near as well as this particular Native American gentleman in these, you know, videos and pictures we've seen, how well he took it. You know, and it probably hurt him to his core to have to watch not just white people, but young white people, this collection of people who are going to represent the future. I mean, to some degree, I don't think these kids are going to be doing that much to advance society based on their, you know, actions today. Hopefully, some of them will grow the hell up one day. Hopefully, some of them will realize how stupid this is. Hopefully, someday they will get out under this web of ignorance that they've just embroiled themselves in and actually become assets to society and citizens of the world, as opposed to just, being locked into your white citizenry and how fucking important you are because you were born white, as though you had any control of that. I could have been born any color, any part of the world. I just happened to be born white just because I happened to be born me. And that's the same case for every other person who's born in this world. Nobody picks what race they're born in. I'm not more highly evolved or better because I was chosen to be white. I mean, come on. So it just gets you really, really frustrated, and it makes you want to get pissed at the country as a whole, you know? And you want to think it's 2019, we're so advanced, but in so many ways we're really not. And that's angering, but it's also tragic at the same time. So anyway, like I said, I don't like getting on my soapbox like this a lot. I don't like being just another person who gets up there and says, "Well, I want to have my say about this because what I say matters too." But like I said, there's certain situations that force you to show your hand or force your hand. That's what I meant to say. So hopefully in the future, although I doubt it, I won't be having to do a lot more videos in this vein, but I mean, who are we kidding? Anyway, guys, treat people with respect, especially when they're not even doing anything to adversely affect you. Come on. I shouldn't even have to say that, you know? Anyway, catch you later.